With the government shutdown, it feels like the whole country is being forced to slow down. And honestly, that's how it feels in our life right now, too. Hello! It is so good to see you today. How are you? It's been a week. I have missed you. And we have so much to catch up on today. You know, right now, you know that we are currently at the Michigan sugar beet harvest, and we are both working, which is like such a different vibe from what we've been doing for the past nearly 6 years. We've been footloose, fancy-free, making money in our own ways that we want to. And after last winter's bus building disaster, we drained our savings. We lost pretty much almost all the cash we had. And we had to move some things around, move some investments around, and we're needing to pad that savings. And so that's why we're here. But the thing is, it turned our world upside down and shut down everything that we were doing before. We really had to choose this shutdown. We didn't have much other options but to choose this shutdown, a pause with a purpose. I'm gonna do my makeup while we talk. We had to rebuild our life after last year's bus build disaster. And it's like, oh, how many times have you had to rebuild your life? So many things happen, different seasons come in, life gets hectic and chaotic. You know, that's where we're at. Our roles are kind of flipped on their head. Kyle's working 12-hour days as a lead for the beet harvest. And I'm a camp host, so I'm working at the campground and running all the things here. But I'm also homeschooling, I'm also cooking, I'm doing all the cleaning. I'm the only parent in charge for those 12 hours. And by the time Kyle gets home, he's exhausted. I know he is. That is not easy work, being on your feet all day, dealing with beets and machinery and all the things. So neither one of our jobs is really glamorous right now. And it kind of really threw both of us out of our comfort zone. Even though we chose to do this work, right? It still feels heavy sometimes. It's still hard. It's suffocating because Kyle takes the car to work because he's got to have somewhere to like eat his lunch and have a break, which means me and the kids have no car during the day. So like if we want to go somewhere, we've got to walk. The downtown is a little over 1.5 miles away. And so we've been walking down there. We've been volunteering at the animal shelter next door. So we have been getting out, but not like we used to. And for groceries, you know, I go grocery shopping now. I plan the meals out. And I've got to go on Sundays. I get to take the car whenever Kyle's here. And it's been this big life shift and transition. You know, it's like with the government shutdown. When everything stops, people panic because uncertainty feels unsafe. The collective, which is the energy of all the people on Earth, right now our country's collective feels very chaotic and unsafe and not somewhere that we all want to be. And so that impact of that energy of the collective affects us personally in all of our daily choices and our life. It's all we can think about, the fear, the blame, the shame, the criticism. So many of these big and heavy emotions are being pushed into us because of this government shutdown. And it really doesn't matter who's on what side or who's right, who's wrong. The reality is we're all kind of suffering in it. It's all uncertain, and that makes us feel unsafe. You know, I think we all have seasons where we need to pause and reevaluate our life. And this is a current season in our government and in our country where we're all needing to pause and reflect on not only our professional life, but our personal life, not only in our country's footprint of the earth, but our footprint and how we want to continue living. The beautiful thing about shutting down, like we're doing now in our own life, is we're getting to see another side. We're getting to see that 9 to 5 grind of how people are living. And it's hard because there's not hardly any connection. There's no connection between people, between friends, between neighbors. Everybody is at each other's throats because that's what our government is showing. And so that's kind of what we are mimicking. Shutdowns, they aren't always punishment. They offer us protection, protecting our peace, and to be able to pause for a minute and reevaluate not only the government's choices, but our choices. We get to take this time to choose how we want to move forward. Do we want to keep moving forward in the way that we have been, or do we want to make new choices that have better outcomes? Because that's the thing, if we continue to make the same exact choices, expecting a different result, that is the definition of insanity. So how does emotional alchemy fit into all of this? You know, we can't control the government. We can't control anything that other people do. But what we can manage is our own choices. This week, I've really had some eye-opening moments where I'm like, oh, I haven't had to live this way in a long time. Both of us really have been in the bus together, aside from like Kyle working Uber and stuff, for almost 6 years. And so this is a whole shift with Kyle having, you know, real work in the sense of clocking in, clocking out, being gone for 12 hours a day. And then me being thrown into now meal planning and cooking dinner and being the only parent in charge. And I've had a lot of moments the past few weeks where, you know, these big emotions are creeping in. These emotions of fear and dread and blame and shame and criticism and anger and frustration. So many of these big and heavy emotions are creeping in. And it's like, it's instant overwhelm. And then there's anxiety and then my depression and my PTSD and like so many things are coming at me all at once. And so I want to share this story because I want to share the beauty in it. You know, what I'm doing as soon as those big emotions come up, I need to have a redirect, right? I need to recognize what is going on. And what's going on is emotion, overwhelm, and overload because I'm in a new season, right? And in this new season, there's going to be new challenges that come up. It's not going to be all smooth sailing, but I can find my calm in the chaos. I was doing dishes the other day, and I started to get so frustrated because Kyle's leaving his stuff everywhere. The kids aren't picking up things. I feel like I'm the only one that is doing all the things. And so that immediate resentment and frustration that I used to have started to creep in. So what I did was I took a little moment. I stepped back from the dishes and I took in a big cleansing inhale. And then I let it out of my mouth with a big releasing exhale. And what that did was that gave me a moment to find my balance in it all, right? Because I'm sure you experience big life changes and shutdowns too. This government shutdown isn't just affecting the government or a certain group of people. It affects each and every one of us in the most subconscious of ways, even if we don't think that it is. And so by pausing in that moment, by taking a breath, I was able to then label the emotions I was feeling and recognize that, oh, this is me being overwhelmed. This is my emotions trying to go out of control, trying to get me to spiral. And in that moment, I have a choice. Just like when you're spiraling, in the moment you are spiraling, you feel it. You feel this winding up, getting out of control. And that's the moment we have choice. That's the moment we can be like, you know what? No, I am not going to give in to these emotions. I'm going to breathe. I'm going to find my clarity. I am going to take a minute. I'm going to label the emotions that I'm feeling. And then I'm going to decide if I want to keep spiraling or if I want to use some tools and some practices that I know to be able to grow through this situation. Kyle and I have had to sit down and have a couple talks because this isn't our normal. And we started to slip back into being tired and the big emotions and the frustration. And we were like, you know what? We got to connect. I needed some space to breathe. So the other night, Saturday night, I went out and sat in the car and I was like, you know what? I need a few minutes. And he knew I was upset. And so shortly, about 5 minutes later, I hear a knock at the window and I open the door. I'm listening to my happy classical music and he gets in and he's like, you know, I don't want to do this. I don't want to have this time where we're working so much and we're getting disconnected. I don't want to slide backwards. I'm like, I don't want to slide backwards either. And so we took that, 45 minutes of sitting in the car. We were giggling and laughing and, taking that moment to connect with each other. And it was just sitting in the car on a Saturday night with classical music playing in the background. That's as simple as these things can be, these tools that we use to just have a moment of reconnection. And then as soon as we reconnect, then there's that gratitude aspect, right? Of like giving gratitude that, oh, okay, we did that. We made it through that reset. We used our tools to get through that moment that we needed each other. So this whole shutdown thing, right? We can reframe it as a recharge. We are recharging our batteries, recharging our bank account, recharging our choices. We're taking the shutdown not as a negative thing. We are taking time to reflect on us because we cannot control other people's choices. We cannot control the government. We cannot control our neighbors, our friends, what they decide to do. The only one we can manage is ourselves. And imagine if everybody individually managed themselves, what this world would look like. I have this thing that I call an OPP. What that stands for is an opportunity to practice patience. So these OPPs can be when somebody cuts you off in traffic. You have no idea what's going through their head, what is they're experiencing in their day-to-day life. So taking that moment to simply take a cleansing breath. I'm telling you, breathing has been paramount through this whole situation with us, shutting down our lives to come down here to the beet harvest. Taking a deep cleansing breath gets rid of that first wave of like crazy anxiety and really makes all the difference in the world. Even in the muck of a shutdown, having to choose something you don't necessarily want to do, you can find the meaning in it. There's lessons all around you. And lessons are cyclical. They keep coming up in different ways until we learn to choose better. When we choose better, that lesson is healed. It doesn't continue to come up. How we navigate this shutdown is completely up to us. Nobody's coming to save us. The government is not coming in. They don't care. Nobody really cares about anybody else because if they did, this world would look like a completely different place. So this moment is temporary. And like I said, we can't control other people, but we can manage our own choices. All right, my favorite part of you coming over. I'm gonna go change into my outfit and I'll be right back and we'll wrap this up. All right, what do you think of my outfit? I am all ready to kind of hang around the bus today. We have some campers coming in, so I'll be checking people in today, getting ready for the next round of work campers that are coming in. And so I wore some nice, easy velvet bell bottoms. I thrifted this shirt from Meijer. It was $1.20 because it was 90% off. Then I have a Gaia kimono from Kansas Bay. And this is what I'm literally wearing around the bus today. These conversations you and I have are not easy conversations by any stretch of the means. And I'm so grateful that you showed up today to work through this with me, to grow together down the road. How are you handling your own shutdown season? Whether it's emotional, physical, financial, spiritual, let me know. Share if you feel called in the comments below, because this is hard on everyone. And truthfully, for us to be able to make it through this, we've got to learn how to grow together. And so let's share in the struggle, so it's not just all on you, on your shoulders. We may not be able to change what's happening, but we are able to change how we meet it and find our own calm in the chaos. If we can do that, we can inspire others to do the same. So thank you so much for being here and being you. I love you so much.